I mean, hi. How is everyone doing? Happy Tuesday. So excited to see you. I know it's been a while. So season 2 for Business Sites with Antonia is a little bit different. We are doing our shows when we actually have some really good things to talk about. We're not just doing a show every Tuesday just because we want to have fun and be all together. No, I want to actually bring you some great guests who have things that are going to help you maybe feed your soul either now or later on, or someone else that you know that you're close to and you care about. So definitely going to be bringing all of that and so much more tonight, this evening. So hi, go ahead in the chat and tell me hello. Tell me how you're doing. I miss you very, very much. And we'll go ahead and roll into tonight's Business Nights with Antonia in just a second. All right, cool. Here we go. All right, I think we're ready to go. Yeah? Okay, I think you said yes. Okay, great. All right, so let's go ahead and get into tonight's topic. Business relevant. So, of course, I have to talk about something that's going on that is very major in the news right now and is definitely affecting my family, affecting your family, everybody that I know and love. So this whole big mask mandate that's going on. I currently live in Hillsborough County, and our county has actually decided to defy the governor's law of saying that they cannot mandate masks in public schools. I believe our county was actually one of the ones that decided to do this before Governor DeSantis decided to say that you can't do mask mandates in schools or threaten to take away superintendents and leaders' salaries. But in any event, they decided to continue to uphold it. There is an option for parents to opt out of making their children wear masks to school. Sorry, my son is in the other room, but it's COVID, so we know. To opt out of making their children wear the mask to school. But I just, honestly, if my children were going back to in person, they would be masked up. They'd be masked up, antibacterial down. No, I can't let you borrow my pencil, mechanical pencil, because I don't know where your hand's been, like all the things, right? So as far as that's relative to business, as small business owners, I know we have to decide whether or not we're going to go back inside of an office or go back inside of a building or have your employees come back. And if you do, are you going to require them to wear masks? Are you going to require them to show that they've gotten vaccinated, or are you going to require them to, like, I think Google and Apple are requiring their employees to take weekly tests on their own expense. So what are you doing as a small business owner to keep yourself and your staff safe? And are you requiring them to come back? Now, because I have to tell you my business, right? So I'm not requiring anyone on my team to go into any office anywhere. I actually gave up my office recently because I knew people were coming back. Like, I don't want to be in the masses. That's not for me. And my team is spread out anyway, and we're mostly remote, so I don't have that issue. But I'm very interested to hear what other small businesses are doing. Okay. All right. So moving on to the hi, Antonia. The question that I was actually asked this week was about email sequences and setting up an email sequence. And how do you do that? So I actually spoke with a near and dear former client of mine yesterday. And one of the biggest things and eye openers to her was you cannot create email sequences in platforms like Google Workspace because it's just set up for regular email. It's no marketing in it at all, right? So where the places you actually need to set up your email sequences, like your welcome sequence, your product review, if you're not using a product review third-party site, or if your sales email sequence, when somebody purchased from you or attends a webinar and you want to follow up with them, would actually be in an email marketing platform. So examples of those would be MailChimp, ConvertKit, Klaviyo, Flowdesk. There's tons of them. And the reason why those are different than Google Workspace or Outlook is because you're able to set up automations based on conditional information. So you're able to tag, organize, and segment your contacts, but then you're also able to tell the system based on if they click on a link and opt in and buy something, or if they don't, which route and customer journey you want them to go down. So email marketing platforms are very useful, very robust. I believe ActiveCampaign has a lot of data and analytics if you're into that type of thing. But really, if you're trying to set up your email sequence, it needs to be on a platform like that, not in Gmail, not in Outlook, not in AOL, not in Yahoo, any of those types of email services. So I hope that helps somebody else outside of her. And that's the reason why we do Hi Antonia, to try to share the information. All right, cool. Okay, just real quick. This is my favorite one. So Antonia's 2 cents. So as you probably know, if you follow me personally on my personal page on Facebook, I recently got sick. Okay. And now I'm trying to change my healthy habits. I'm trying to be a better person. I'm trying to, just get good. Right. My guilty pleasure, I'm sure is like a lot of us, is Starbucks. Like when I say the name, I can smell the coffee. Like it is like that deeply ingrained in me. It's so good. If I could get me a venti white chocolate hot mocha with whip on a daily basis, I would. Okay. However, my internal medicine doctor said no. I can't do that anymore. So what I actually found is if you take time to look on the Starbucks app, if you scroll past the croissants, scroll past the pumpkin loaf, scroll past the white chocolate mocha, there is a new coffee on that. Well, it's not new. It's new to me. There's a coffee on there called Cafe Miso, and it's like 80 grams of sodium, like 16 grams of carbs, and there's like no sugar. And you add 2 packs of stevia, and it's amazing. So those are my 2 cents. If you find yourself in a predicament where you need to change your lifestyle, change your health, change your eating habits, there is going to be, at least nowadays, there's going to be a healthier option for you. So I will probably, this is really sad to admit, but I probably will still sit inside of a Starbucks, still smell all the coffee, and just drink my little healthier version of coffee. It's sad, but that's my life. That's what I love. So that's my little 2 cents, and I love it. Thank you so much, Starbucks, for creating that just for me. Somebody said, that's good you found an alternative. Yes, because I still need caffeine. I still need it. And whoever said, hey, I can't see your name, but hey. All right, y'all. We've been through all of our segments. So this is the favorite part of Business Nights with Antonia, when I actually get to introduce you to somebody amazing. Her name is Sharon. I don't bring just anybody on the show. So obviously she's amazing. You guys are going to see it in a second, but just be warned of the amazingness that's about to come through your phone or laptop or whatever you're watching us on. Are you ready? Oh, she said it's Crystal Lynn. Hi. All right. Without further ado, let's go ahead and welcome our guest.
Hi.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm so good. I got trying to make healthier choices. I got my vitamin water with me, so I'm good.
See, I'm proud of you. I am proud of you making those lifestyle changes.
Thank you.
With it. I'm proud of you.
It's so hard. Do you like coffee?
I love coffee, but I'm Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, yeah. See, there's the Dunkin' Donuts like less than a mile from my house, and I will ride past it every day to go to Starbucks. It's so sad.
Yeah, I'm Dunkin' Donuts all day.
all day. Well, Miss Sharon, I know who you are, but go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience and let us all know what makes you amazing, what makes you great.
Well, thank you so much for that intro, and thank you for having me on your show. I am super excited. But just to tell y'all a little bit about myself, my name is Sharon Crouch. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I'm also a master addiction counselor, and I am a clinical supervisor. So I help master level clinicians become licensed. I'm the owner of Magnifying Expectations. We are a behavioral health firm that's located in Stockbridge, Georgia. We offer individual, family, couple sessions. Um, we also offer in-person sessions as well as virtual.
Wow.
My particular specialty is anxiety, depression, and suicidality. More
Mhm.
specifically, I focus on that inner voice that sometimes is in your head that speaks to you, that tells you that, hey, you can't do something, you're going to fail at something, you're not good enough for something, that the world is going to cave in once you try to do something amazing. That is your inner critic. And that voice is often behind a lot of emotional and behavioral health issues. It's behind anxiety, depression. It contributes to suicidality. So that little voice is my specialty, and that little voice is so important to me because the techniques and the tips that I provide are techniques and tips that I went through myself to help me manage my inner critic, to help me
Mhm.
silence that voice in the back of my head that said, hey, don't start that business because it's not going to work out. Don't start that business because you're not going to get clients. Don't start that business because if you fail, everybody's going to know. So the strategies that I walk people through are the same strategies that I implemented myself to learn how to manage and unfriend my inner critic.
So I'm just going to give you your superwoman cape right now because everybody needs help managing that inner voice, that doubt. And that is, honestly, I don't know if you're religious, Sharon, and I apologize if you're not. God sends me the people that I need. And I know that somebody else who's watching this also needs to hear this topic and the message tonight because, ooh, I need help managing this, especially going into my 4th year of my business. I need management of the inner voice. So let's just roll into tonight's topic. I'm super excited. Okay. So what does unfriending your inner critic mean?
So actually, and I needed to come up with a catchy topic, right?
Okay.
So I came up with unfriending your inner critic really from Facebook. When you unfriend somebody, you let them go, and
Mhm.
they disappear from your view.
Mhm.
Technically, in my workshop and in my therapy sessions, you learn how to manage or understand your inner critic. What I
Mhm.
mean by that is we walk through, where does the inner critic come from? Because that's important. When you know how this little voice developed and
Mhm.
why this little voice developed, then you have a better way to manage that voice when you hear that voice, right? In addition to that, we're going to walk through different strategies for particularly how to manage your voice, because everybody voice speaks to them in different ways. Sometimes it's a whisper. Some people just hear a whisper. Don't do that. Some people hear a yell. Okay.
Mhm.
Some people hear abuse. You're
Mhm.
stupid. You're not going to make it. So walking through, what does your inner critic sound like? When does your inner critic show up? And this is how we're going to manage your inner critic. So, unfriending really means learning how to live with, learning how to talk to, learning how to connect with, and learning how to disconnect from that inner voice.
Mm. Okay. So if we're starting in your workshop or your program or working with you, what are some of the things that you help us do in order to be able to actually identify that, oh, that's my inner critic. That's not someone else or something else that we're hearing on the radio. Like how do we get in tune enough to start hearing it?
Okay. So we walk through that process of I ask the question, what is the biggest thing that you want to do that you are afraid to do?
Hmm.
And we're going to write that down, think about it. And then the next step is, what's stopping you from doing that? What's stopping you from doing that most amazing thing? And most of the time, once we get through the logistics of money and support and things like that, the next thing that comes up is believing in yourself, not thinking you can do it. Then we walk through that process of what's stopping you from believing in yourself. And then we can get to the portion of the inner critic. Also, what's important again is understanding where that inner critic comes from. So usually if I'm in a group or if I'm in an individual session, I'll have my hand raised and
Mhm.
I'll say, tell me the first time you realized you were different or had the thought that you were different, and not different in a good way, but different in a way that you did not want to be different. And I lower my hand and lower my hand and I lower my hand. I say, tell me when to stop lowering my hand. And
Uh-huh.
usually I lower my hand to the point of a 4 or 5 year old, how
Uh-huh.
tall a 4-year old or a 5-year-old will stand. And that's when the person will tell me, this is the first time I had an experience where someone pointed out to me that I was different, that I didn't fit in, that I didn't belong, that something about me put me aside or set me aside in a different way from everybody else. And
Mhm.
that is where your inner critic starts. That age right there is when that self-protection comes in that says, you're different, they're not going to like you. You're different, they're going to laugh at you. You're different, they're not going to be your friend. That's where it starts
Hmm.
as a protective factor. And so once we kind of walk through that piece of this is where it started, then we walk through where did it start to become reinforced, with
We were reinforcing it ourselves.
Mhm. And it's also reinforced with parents, how parents, raise their children. And I always tell my story because, I grew up in a space where children were supposed to be seen and not heard. You remember that little
Yes.
catchphrase, children are supposed to
Mhm.
be seen and not heard. And I was praised for being silent. I was praised for being a good girl. You're a good girl if you be quiet and don't move. You're a good girl if you just sit still. And
Mhm.
so you learn how to quiet your voice and you learn how to be quiet, not think, do exactly what's told of you. And then
Mhm.
when you grow up and you become a young adult or a young woman, and it's hard for you to make decisions because for so long you were taught to just be quiet, to sit
Yeah.
still, to not think and just do what your parent told you to do or your grandmother told you to do, and you were rewarded for that. So as an adult, when it's time to make decisions, that little voice starts to creep in and say, you don't know what you're doing,
Mhm.
or that you're going to mess that up, or go get some help because for me, I was taught to follow the rules, follow the lines, stay in the
Mhm.
line, don't go outside of the line.
Mhm.
And so that's very important because that's how my inner critic was reinforced when I realized, okay, I was different. And then when my mother said, be quiet, sit down, be still, that inner critic in my voice said, what you have to say is not important because your mom said sit down and be still.
Mhm.
And so we walk through, okay, how was your inner critic nurtured? Like, who around you nurtured that little voice that says you're not going to be helpful? And now this is not to blame your parents or to blame the people around you, but it's important for you to know how this little voice developed and how it was nurtured so that when you hear it, you understand where it's coming from.
Mhm. That is a lot. So that takes a lot of, I would say, bravery and courage to actually analyze yourself to the
Mm-hmm.
point where, one, you are pinpointing how old you were when it actually started.
Yeah.
You shared your story. I would love to share just a snippet of mine.
Please.
As you were doing that, I was like, gosh, when was the first time someone told me that I couldn't do something I wanted to do. And I believe it's when I was in college and I became pregnant. Me and my husband became pregnant with our first child. And just getting the communication from the older generation, your life is over. You can't do anything else. You're done. Like, that's it. You're not going to be able to finish. You're not going to do all these things. And me trying to just be rebellious against that and trying to continue school and trying to continue to have friends. But even when I was thinking about, I started reinforcing that, right? Because I tried to keep the same friends I had. I couldn't do all the things.
Yeah.
And then with my now husband, when I was like, I'm going to quit my job, all of that fear crept up into my throat about me with my business. Cause it's like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. I can't. I have these kids. They need health insurance. We need all of these things. Like, and mama has to have it no matter what. And that is definitely, I believe, the first time that happened, the doubt set in. For sure. Now, in that instance, what are some of the tools, right? Because I feel like, I don't know if you call it your toolkit or your toolbox or tools that you give to the people who are in your program, but what are some things that people can do to learn to live with that voice or how to manage it?
So the first thing that we figure out is, how is the voice speaking to you? So if it's an abusive voice, then we definitely want to disconnect from that voice. If it's a voice that is protective, don't do it because it's not going to work out, or wait to do that until you learn a little bit more. That voice is a protective voice. That voice just doesn't want to see you hurt. There's also, some people have the voice where it's, you're stupid. That's not going to work out. Now that voice you want to disconnect from. So what I tell people is, the first thing you want to do is, what does your voice sound like? Let's decide, what does your voice sound like? Now, if your voice is a protective voice, then we walk through that process of, I want you to think about a person who loves you, that you have been able to set boundaries with. Okay. And think about that person, and we're going to name your inner critic a similar name to that person. So if that person, like for me, that person is my mother, right? So I named my inner critic a name similar to my mother. So I'm gonna say my mother's name is Chrissy, right? So I named her Missy, because that is someone that I have learned to set boundaries with and talk to in a very nice way. So when my inner critic comes into my ear, I say, Missy, thank you for caring about me, but I'm ready for this. And I'll talk to her as if she is a real person that is standing next to me, saying, listen, I think you should wait for this, because you're not prepared for this. You need to learn a little bit more. You need to take a couple of more classes. You're not ready. Missy, I'm ready for this. And this is why I'm ready for this. Okay. Whatever accomplishments you've had, whatever achievements you've done, this is why I'm ready for this. If the voice is abusive, I want you to then think of a person that you have disconnected from. When you disconnected from that person, it hurt you to your heart to disconnect from them. You got over the situation, but it was very hurtful. It took a long time. That's the name that I want you to call that abusive voice, because that's going to take you back to your strength and being able to disconnect from that person. Let's say that person is John. When that person comes, when that inner voice comes in your ear and says, you're too fat for that, they're going to laugh at you. Or you're too stupid for that promotion. Then you're going to tell that voice, John, we've already stopped talking. We don't even talk anymore. So it's time for you to go. We've already disconnected.
Yes.
So the first thing you're going to do is identify, hey, which one of these voices do I hear? And that's going to help determine how you communicate with the voice.
Okay. So what about, I guess, how would you characterize the voice if it's just overall fear? So I guess the fear would have to be broken down as if that's a protective fear or if that's just an abusive fear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So fear is just kind of like a high level way to describe it, but really facing the fear and seeing what type of, I guess.
Generally, the fear is related to protection.
Okay.
The fear is, I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't think I'm prepared for this.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna fail. It may be people are gonna laugh at me if I fail. Everyone is gonna know that I failed. So taking a look at what's surrounding the fear, what's behind the fear. Most of the time, it's related to protection. I want to protect myself from being embarrassed. I want to protect myself from being financially destitute. I
Mhm.
want to protect my family. So generally, it's protective.
Yeah, I have all those. I think most of us do. Because no one likes, I don't know how many people, but most people don't like thoroughly enjoy asking for help. So to be able to take care of yourself, right, I think is definitely most people's goal. So yeah. Okay. I love that. So is this how do we get involved with this? How do we start the process of working with you or working with your team?
So, well, my next workshop is scheduled for October the 23rd.
Ooh.
I am trying to decide if it is going to be in person or virtual because of COVID. My plan initially was in person.
Mhm.
Usually, when we have in person workshops, we also have in person COVID testing on site.
Okay.
And so you receive a rapid, and it's free. You receive a rapid test on site. You get the results immediately, and then you can proceed to the workshop.
So is there a website we can register or?
Yes, you can register at my you can email me at sharon@magnifymeconsulting.com.
Okay.
And also you can register on my website, magnifymeconsulting.com.
Consulting.com.
Yes.
And then how much is this workshop?
So the workshop is $59 and it comes with a workbook.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yes, so it comes with a workbook for you to be able to practice the techniques at home, for you to be able to write in, because some people don't like to share in the open space. I try to keep it intimate, 8 to 10 people. When I do it virtual, I don't record, simply because a lot of emotions come up when we talk about fear and what fear has stopped us from doing. So I don't record my workshops. And some people don't like to talk in public, speak in public with people they don't know. So what the workbook does is allow you to write down your feelings, or write down things that you have to say. I walk around. If you want me to read and provide feedback, I can. If you don't want to ask questions in the group. So I try to make it as interactive and as individualized as possible, because everybody don't want to talk, in a group of people.
So 8 to 10 people. So really 7 to 9, because I'm gonna be in the building. Like, I need my spot.
Come on.
So excited. Okay, well, awesome. October 23rd. Register. Someone put in the chat. I love whoever that is. I can't see your name, so thank you. MagnifyMeConsulting.com. I also put it up on our YouTube channel in the chat, so please register. It is only $59, and I think that this is definitely something we need as we are trying to better ourselves and take better care of ourselves, right? Being able to learn how to manage this is definitely something I feel like it's crucial, to be honest with you. Especially as most of us are, well, I don't want to say the lucky ones of us, because my house is always really noisy, but the ones who have time to hear their voice.
Right.
So I think that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sharon, for joining us, enlightening us, teaching us, and sharing with us your workshop that's on October 23rd, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, Saz. I will definitely make sure we promote that and help promote and get those other 7 to 9 seats.
Yes.
So. All right. Well, everybody say goodbye to Miss Sharon. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. If you don't mind, if you can go backstage for a second,
Sure.
I'll give you a proper goodbye, okay?
Okay.
All right, awesome. Bye.
Bye.
All right, y'all. I told you we only bring greatness on Business Nights with Antonia, right? Awesome. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's Business Nights Tuesday with Antonia. There was one other thing that I wanted to share with you all just very quickly. So a couple of weeks ago, we actually launched our Assist You University. And I want to make sure that you all know that it is live for you. We are focusing on empowering Black mental health professionals with their marketing skills and having them join in the social media college, which is DIY. So if we do it for you, of course, it's a little bit more expensive, but for until August 21st, you can join for $79. You'll get things like this. This is our collection. You'll have details about who the name of the collection is around. Details about social media. We teach you all types of things of how to create your content system and how to plan out your content for the entire month. But then we also give you templates that you can utilize on your social media platforms that you would just customize with your own colors and with your own branding and tweak the words if you would like. And they're not just empty templates. It's not just like bullet point 1, 2, and 3. No, we have a whole entire research team that goes in and looks up various different topics that will speak to your audience. We care all about Black mental health professionals, and this is the actual portal itself. I just wanted to show you guys real quick. A lot of work went into this, but this is what you get, including the monthly jam sessions, which are hour-long sessions once a month with myself, and we talk about all things marketing. If you have specific questions about your email newsletter, how to set that up, about what is your open ratio, about setting up ads, about your launch process, your course development, all of those questions can be asked and answered during our monthly jam sessions. And then, of course, we have the bonuses. So hashtag strategies, live video ideas, because video is king now, right? Everywhere, including Instagram. And then you get access to our other special bonuses we have coming up: email, newsletter templates. Some great things are in the works. So definitely wanted to share that with you all so that you are in the know. And actually, that is the business we're going to start to build to 6 figures. And I'm going to take you guys along and continue to share behind the scenes. So without further ado, somebody put, great job. Great. So excited. Thank you. I told you my house is always noisy, but it is what it is. I love each and every one of them. So thank you so much for joining Business Nights with Antonia. Until next time, have a great one. Bye.